With its beautiful beaches, varied attractions and affordable prices, the island of Koh Samui has long been one of Thailand's most popular tourist destinations. But what is it like for a long-term stay? I spent 2 months living on this island, so join me as I show you around what I think is one of the best areas to stay, as well as breaking down all of my costs of living in a luxury complex only a few meters from the seafront. Hello and welcome back to another day in Thailand, where you join me from our house in the Replay Residences, where we've been living for the past 2 months. Now, this resort and housing complex is right in the north of the island in the Boh Put area, and it's pretty easy to spot from the Samui Ring Road thanks to the massive fake lighthouse right outside it. But before I give you a tour of the house, which is very, very nice by the way, let me show you around our local area, because we are pretty much bang in the middle of two of the best places to stay on the whole island. Now, the vast majority of tourists who come to Samui usually stay around the busy streets of Chaweng Beach, the island's main resort town. But when we arrived at the beginning of 2022, this once lively area was a bit of a ghost town. So in search of life, we chose to stay in a place just 15 minutes north of the big sea, a town on the beach that has long been popular for expats and retirees. Almost directly across the road from Replay is Bangrak Beach. And if you follow the sand for about 5 to 10 minutes, you end up in Bangrak Village, which is a very popular place to stay for expats, and it's just good for long-term living in general. Now, this is by no means the nicest beach on the island, it's actually far from it. But as we get closer to town, I think you'll see why this is such a popular place to live. What Bangrak offers more than some other beaches on Samui is convenience. It's not so much a place for swimming, but it pretty much has everything else. This is where you'll find the main pier for boats over to Koh Phangan and the surrounding islands, which is great for a weekend trip away. You also have the main Samui International Airport right here in town, but away from transport, there is so much more. This whole area has a very village-like feel. On the main road, you have cafes, restaurants, bars and massage parlours catering to all different budgets. You can find plenty of places for Western brunches or international food. Some even have swimming pools with views over the seafront. And you can even use some of them just by buying a meal or a drink. And of course, there's even more places to check out when the sun goes down. You've got fancy beachfront restaurants and bars with live music like the popular Secret Garden, which isn't really a secret at all. And if you want a real hidden gem, you can try your luck trying to find Bangrak's very own speakeasy cocktail bar. Alongside the expensive options, you also have some very affordable local spots where you can find a khao kha mu or noodles for as little as 60 baht per dish. And there's even a few places right on the sand that won't break the bank as you watch the sunset with your food. The bay here curves around in an almost horseshoe shape, and if you follow the road right to the end, you come face to face with one of the most iconic attractions in all of Samui. Just a few kilometers from the center of Bangrak is one of the main reasons that tourists head to this area, in the shape of the towering golden statue of the Big Buddha, which you can see from miles around. The temple itself sits on its own small island connected to the mainland by road, and not only is it an impressive structure in its own right, it also offers some great views back onto the Bangrak Bay. But if you want a really nice view of the Buddha Island itself, I highly recommend a little place called Drip Indeed. This is a very small coffee shop that is literally inside somebody's house, but they are super friendly here and serve some really nice drinks. Isn't this the fanciest coffee you've ever seen in your life? Cheers. Just down the road is another popular and much more impressive temple called Wat Plai Lem, with its own big and more rotund Buddha sitting alongside other neighbouring temples and statues that also sit on their own small islands in the water. So Bangrak is the area to the east of Replay, but turning left and following the ring road to the west, you'll end up in the Fishermans village. Now, this is the area where we stayed on our first ever trip to Samui about 6 years ago, and it's a really nice holiday atmosphere here. You'll find a lot more upscale bars and restaurants, and it's got a nice family-friendly vibe. And again, it's only a 10-15 minute walk from where we're staying, so it's another great option to have on our doorstep. So let's follow the beach down to the Fisherman's village and check out what it has to offer. If Bangrak is more for the expats, then the Fisherman's Village is more for the tourists. This area also has its own beach, which again isn't the nicest for sunbathing or swimming, but it more than makes up for it with what's going on behind it. The Fisherman's Village is well known for its long promenade lined with really great places to eat and drink. Again, there's a mix of both local and international options. Because it's aimed at tourists, it is generally quite expensive here, especially when compared to Bangrak. But to be fair, you only need to walk out onto the main road to find a local noodle soup or khao man gai for around 60 or 70 baht. We stayed on Samui in the first few months of 2022, and as I've already mentioned about Chaweng, tourist areas of Thailand were still feeling the effects of the pandemic, which was very clear to see in certain parts of the village as well. From what I can remember, this was a sort of outlet mall, so you can imagine it used to be quite popular, but literally every shop here is gone. But to be honest, I never remember the Fisherman's Village being the most lively place during the daytime, but it always did come alive at night, and nothing had changed in that regard. When the sun goes down on the main strip, the music starts playing, there's even a nice tourist night market selling souvenirs, and of course right at the far end of the beach is the famous Koh Tams, with its fancy cocktails and beanbags on the sand. It's definitely not cheap here either, but it's worth it to check out one of the best fire shows in the whole of Thailand. So, as you can see, we are literally a stone's throw away from two of the very best areas on the island of Koh Samui. But now it's time to show you around where we've been staying. The Replay residence was built in 2011, marked by that white lighthouse just off the main road. It's a complex that's divided into several different sections with different styles of housing. And much like Bangrak itself, it caters to all sorts of budgets. But once again, when we arrived here, there were some clear signs that the development had also suffered in recent months. Right then, I'm now sat down outside the Replay residences, and let's start with the not so good stuff. As you can see, this whole entrance area is not quite what it used to be. There used to be a family mart here and an on-site restaurant and cafe, but both have now closed down thanks to COVID, which is, again, very sad to see. And it's a shame because it would be very convenient to have somewhere to buy things and have somewhere to order food on site. But luckily, being where we are on the ring road, it is very easy to just walk 5 minutes and find a cafe, find some shops. So it's not the end of the world. And once you get inside the Replay residences, things are looking very, very nice. When you first walk into the complex, you'll see the main area looking over the swimming pool. And this is where you'll find the most budget-friendly options for living. Condos and apartments in this section start from as little as 14,000 baht per month. There's studios, 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom options, which all have balconies, some with a sea view on the higher levels. Inside, they can be quite small, starting at around 25 square meters, but for the location, it's still a good option for a solo traveler or a couple. The swimming pool itself is a great size, complete with plenty of sunbeds around the edge. It also used to have a functioning swim-up bar, which unfortunately was closed when we were there. In this area, you'll also find the big gym and fitness rooms where they also run some classes. But that's not all. There's also a tennis and basketball court, which is accessible for all guests, a rare find on Samui in general. Overall, I will say that some of the facilities are looking a little tired, but again, for the price and location, it's more than okay. And behind this main area, you'll find some lodgings with much more space. Set amongst some really nice gardens is the Pause area, comprised completely of larger houses, most of which have private parking spaces and in some cases, private gardens and swimming pools. And this is also where we stayed during our time on the island. So here we are. This is our 3-bedroom townhouse. This Pause section of the residences is all about this style. They're all 3 bedrooms and you get a lot of families living here, of course. And I know what you're thinking, 3 bedrooms sounds like quite a lot for 2 people, and yeah, you're right, but we did get a really good deal on this place. So let me give you a tour of the inside and then we'll talk about prices. So you come right through this sliding door and into this lovely open plan space. Straight away on the left-hand side here, you've got a dining table, which we most often use as a desk. Then on the right-hand side, you've got stairs that lead up to the bedrooms. And right at the end, you've got the main living area and the kitchen. As you can imagine, this is where we end up spending most of our time. You've got 2 very comfortable sofas here, both of which flatten out into sofa beds as well, which is quite useful. You've got a couple more chairs there, and of course you've got TV, which has Netflix built in, so that's pretty handy. It's worth mentioning that there is aircon in most of the rooms in the house, including this downstairs area, but to be honest, it's normally so nice and cool down here that we sometimes just don't put it on. And then on the other side, you've got the kitchen. And this space pretty much comes with everything you need for long-term living. There's a washing machine, there's a microwave, you've even got a coffee machine, kettle, toaster, there's an electric hob to do your cooking, and you've even got a fridge freezer as well. But to be honest, there's so many affordable food options in the local area that we sometimes cook breakfast here, but that's pretty much it. You've also got another glass dining table here, which is again normally a desk for us. Just over on this side, you also have a small downstairs toilet. And the last thing to show you down here is those sliding doors that go out to the patio, which is quite nice to have, but as you can see, it's pretty overlooked by our neighbours there, so we don't often sit out there for too long. But it is quite useful to have for drying clothes and things like that. So let's get up these stairs now and check out the bedrooms. I'm not used to doing full-on house tours. I've done plenty of hotel rooms and condos, but this is much more tiring. Right then, I'm now on the first floor where you'll find 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. So let's start on this side with the 2 guest bedrooms. This first one on the left-hand side is the slightly bigger guest bedroom. It's got a double bed, a little dressing table and mirror here, and at the back there, you've even got a walk-in wardrobe, which is quite nice. The next door on the right leads into the smallest bedroom of the 3. But for some reason, this is where they decided to put the biggest bed in the whole house. So I'm not quite sure how that happened, but it is what it is. You've also got a dressing table and a wardrobe. And both of these guest bedrooms share some sliding glass doors out onto a long balcony that looks out of the back. And once again, it is a bit overlooked by the neighbours, but it's still nice to have. The final room on this side of the landing is a small shower room and toilet, which is again very useful to have if you've got guests staying with you. And finally, on the other side, you have the master bedroom, which is probably my favourite room in the whole house. So here we are. And this is really such a nice room. We've got so much space here. In the middle, you've got that lovely big bed. Opposite that, there's a TV. And back on this side, you've got a dressing table and yet another walk-in wardrobe. And of course, you've got the ensuite bathroom, which is also really big. It's got a shower and a bath as well, so that's kind of nice to have. I don't think we've actually used the bath, but it's good to know it's there. And finally, this bedroom also has its own private balcony. And this is definitely the nicest outdoor space on the property. Again, there's no sea view or anything special like that. You just got this sort of red roof and some trees, and you can look at the street down that way. But it's just a nice spot to sit and have a morning coffee or an evening beer. So that's the house tour done, and let's talk about prices. We booked this place on Airbnb back in January 2022, and at that time, the tourist numbers in Thailand were still quite low, so there were some really good discounts going on. And we actually got 60% off this place, so if it wasn't for that, I don't even know if we could have afforded to stay here for all this time. And the final price that we got with that discount was £20 per night, which I think is a really, really good deal. And listen, there's elements of this house that haven't been ideal. We've had quite a few maintenance issues, and it does look a little bit tired in places. And the same can be said of the resort in general. If you're coming here expecting a hotel standard or a hotel service, I think you're going to be quite disappointed, because this is definitely for long-term living. But overall, we've been very, very happy here. That £20 a night that we're paying does include our water bills, but it doesn't include electricity, so I'll let you know what the final bill is once we've checked out. But before this video comes to a close, I want to show you one more place, which is a little bit of a local secret, and it should have a really lovely view. Just a short walk from Replay back towards Bangrak, you'll see some fruit stalls that hide a really nice spot. Beyond the fence is a park with a very steep hill and some incredible views back down onto the island. In the evenings, you'll see lots of locals here exercising, and right at the summit is the perfect reward for your climb. This bar had only recently opened when we were there, and it has some really amazing views across the Koh Phangan. The perfect backdrop to tell you about those final costs. We stayed at Replay from the 30th of January to the 3rd of April, so just over 2 months. and our rent and water bills came to 52,552 baht for that whole period. The electricity bill came to 8,140 baht, which brings our total bills at replay to 60,692 baht, which is roughly £733 a month or $882. Next time we make our final stop in the south, going in search of the most British pub in Thailand, as well as my own personal favourite beach.